are live. We are live. We are live. We are live. We are on the road to WrestleMania 42. How about that?
Who'd you beat for that title?
Everybody.
Beat the postman for that
you guys
title,
want a
didn't you?
title defense? I am right here for this gold.
It's the Women's Intercontinental Champion. I'm kidding.
Yeah. He beat the postman for that title, I think, when they came and delivered it.
We are like, how about that? We are officially on the road to WrestleMania. I am joined tonight by Joe Aguilar and Peter Moxley. All of us checking in from Long Island, New York. How you guys all doing?
Representing Strong Island, Long Island here tonight, man. I'm glad I'm not down south in the Carolinas. They got 10 inches of snow. We got that last week. I'm glad this one is going out to sea and not coming to Long Island.
It is the most magical place on earth, as MJF would call it. And I happen to agree.
We are officially 80 days away from WWE WrestleMania in Las Vegas. I am counting down the days because I will be there. Thank God. And after tonight's show, I'm basically thinking that Triple H is ready to go too. A lot of things to talk about tonight.
Definitely is, man.
So we're gonna come in a little hot here. I think we're gonna come in hot. All right, we got some people in the chat room. We're gonna come in hot tonight. We're gonna talk about the men's WWE Royal Rumble match, what we just saw tonight. So I will give myself a little bit of a pat on the back for doing that top 5, who I thought the top 5 wrestlers that are going to win the Royal Rumble. What the world happened tonight?
Where's your number 1, man? What the heck happened, man?
That was my number 1.
That was my number 1 too, man.
How about my number 2? How about my number 2, Oba? What in the world happened there? Cody Rhodes. Well, we had a feeling that this wasn't going to happen, but then we have these guys right here. Brock Lesnar was my number 5, and Roman Reigns. So I had that right? Yeah, Roman Reigns is my number 4.
We almost missed Brock Lesnar being eliminated. We were too busy yeeting there in the crowd with Jey Uso.
I legit was eating with my kids, and I looked up and I'm like, oh, wait, what happened to Brock?
I actually had to go back 30 seconds, had to grab the remote and say, wait, what did I just miss? Legit, man. Let's go up to the beginning of this. I mean, Oba.
The very beginning is very, very key here. Oba coming out number 1.
Number 1, exactly, man.
I loved it.
It's just a shocking, to see him come out as number 1. And then we knew that it was going to be Braun. And then we had the mysterious attacker, man.
Don't get way too ahead of ourselves here. Let's not.
It's 1 and 2. It happened right in the beginning of the men's Royal Rumble.
Braun Breaker getting eliminated that quick. I did not see that coming.
Nobody did, man. Everybody had him pretty much. The 2 guys that you had winning this Royal Rumble that you had from everybody's pick pretty much, even though you did not have him at number 2. We talked last night on the prediction show that it was either going to be Braun Breaker was our number 1 or Roman Reigns. And it's just like, what happened? And it was such a fast elimination, man. I have a couple of theories of the masked men, and we're seeing masked men left and right all of a sudden in creative writing. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, the Triple H loves masked men apparently, but go on.
It's the masked men era.
Dude, it looked like, and I talked about this with you last night, that I have a feeling that Austin Theory is working with Seth Rollins. That guy, his body shape, the way he looked, I'm looking at the hands and I'm like, is that Austin Theory? And I'm looking in between after the pay-per-view, people are thinking it's Adam Pearce. I don't think so at all. But it's crazy. It's like, who could this person be? It's not Seth Rollins. It didn't
No.
look like that.
He's in Chicago taking care of Rue.
Yeah. I really think it's something that's been infiltrating inside the division. I think it might be Austin Theory.
Yeah, I like that.
Hold up. Here's the thing, though. This guy looked a little bit on the leaner side.
It could be Logan Paul, I thought too.
It did not even cross my mind till this second, because I'm like, this guy was lean, but he wasn't too short. But it wasn't Austin Theory, because Austin Theory's a little bulkier. But then I'm thinking to myself now, just a split second where he said it, I'm like, maybe it's Logan Paul. Maybe the Vision is going to somehow carry on without Braun Breaker eventually. Is this a possibility?
It could be. Another guy I also thought about that I put in my notes is, now we'll get into somebody else. It looks like we're building up a storyline of a couple of guys against the Vision.
Yeah.
And one of them, and it could be again, another guy I thought about, I had in my notes, was LA Knight. Coming out early in the night and taking out Braun Breaker. That's another way they could go, where it's not somebody in the Vision, somebody outside the Vision. And like I was looking at the hands, and it was just like, who could this be?
Yeah, this guy was not
a little facial hair. It looked like
muscular. This guy was not strong at all. It could not have been
LA Knight. The black hoodie kind of, could throw you off. It could be me, for all you know.
It could be. You have trimmed down quite a bit. Joe, your thoughts? Your instant thoughts when the black hoodie guy came out. You must have thought to yourself first off, oh, not again.
I know. Honestly, I popped. I honestly thought, I'm like, hey, listen, who's to say that in Storyland it's not Seth Rollins? You know what I mean? Like, it could be Seth Rollins the whole time, but it was just someone underneath the black mask tonight, because if Seth is still hurt or not there or whatever, to make it seem like it was Seth. But I do like the idea that it's Austin Theory, because it's like the whole entire time since he's joined the Vision, he's just been on the outskirts of it, just like, sure, like you had some added muscle, they look great together, but I love the idea of Austin Theory really working with Seth Rollins on the back end, and then just leading that into now WrestleMania, into like a Braun Breaker versus, like, it could be Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed versus Theory and a returning Seth Rollins, who could be protected at WrestleMania with a tag team match, so he's not too active, but could still kind of do his hot spots and stuff like that,
There was one other thing real fast that Michael Cole also pointed out. I pointed out last night, and I haven't heard anybody talking about it, but what has Austin Theory been doing lately? The curb stomp. He did it Monday night.
Yep.
And Michael Cole said, there's been some auspicious things happening lately, kind of like there's been a couple. He's like, we've been seeing some curb stomps lately. And meanwhile, he's trying to say Seth Rollins, of course, but he could be throwing you off. Like I said, wrestling is these little puzzles sometimes we got to put together, that we could see these storylines coming together and seeing where they're going and stuff. Everything's a work, man.
I will say this. I think that it is a good idea to do this to Braun Breaker now, because you had so many other names that it could have been this year, where like, if Braun Breaker really has a fair shake at a Royal Rumble again, even at a number 1 spot, like, it is going to be like, oh yeah, he's going to be a top contender when he does get a fair shake. This was like a very easy way to write him out of the Royal Rumble in a believable way that also protects him.
Yeah.
Monday night, there's going to be a big time, no pun intended, aftermath with Braun Breaker in regards to this. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts out the show like, storming to the ring.
And look where they're at. They're going to be in Philadelphia. That crowd is going to be hot. Philadelphia is always a hot roar, man.
That is amazing. Look at that. And Roman Reigns coming back to Philadelphia.
Yeah. It's so funny. Roman Reigns, he said on McAfee, basically, he said, that he's tired of mediocrity in WWE the past 2 years, and he's ready to get back on the ball. Even himself, that he's been a little lackluster lately. He's been at home taking care of things. Now it's time for the top dog to be back on top.
Moving on, we had the Saudi. So Oba drew number one. He had a good showing. He had a very good showing here. I would have liked for him to stick around in this match a little bit deeper, and more preferably towards the final four. But he had a great showing here. Pete, we talked about it last night. We had the Americano spot.
Dude, called it, bro.
To the T, you called it with the pointing and everything.
Let me just say real fast. Opa family said, Rusev, thanks for coming, and Matt Cardona, always be ready to be eliminated, man. He eliminated those two big guys so fast in the beginning of this match. But how funny it was that you have El Grande Americano, and now you have the original El Grande Americano, and the original American El Grande is not what he was. Chad Gable is
working out,
jacked. He may be ready finally for that push that everybody wanted from Chad Gable for the longest time, man. He's huge now. He's not that small little guy that he was, man. Just an amazing wrestler, man. And everybody was getting behind him before that injury, and he's been sitting at home 12 hours a day or something, popping squats or I don't know, whatever, man. It's been kind of crazy, man.
These guys, as they're getting older, like more and more are getting like beefier. Like, have you seen like Ken Anderson when he got older? Ken Shamrock.
How about Tama Tonga?
These Tama Tonga.
I kind of hate that for Tama now.
Like, he's also looking a little beefier too.
Yeah,
he looks better. He looks better, leaner.
Look, what did we say last night? AJ Styles, his arms are getting larger and larger by the month, man, and he's gotten beefier over time, man.
Everyone's doing DDP yoga.
We had the so let's talk about this one really quick. Joe, what did you think of Powerhouse Hobbs coming out? I marked out as soon as I saw Powerhouse Hobbs come across the screen. But then it changed to Royce Keys. I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah.
I would have been happy with Powerhouse Hobbs.
I know. It's cool that they made mention of it right away. They're like, hey, here's your pop. Now let's call him Royce Keys. And now he's ours. And I'm just like, I saw him and I'm like, please don't bury him. Please don't bury him. Please don't bury him.
He had a decent outing.
There's one thing that's going to change your mind with that name. Of Royce Keys.
Well, I know Royce is part of his family member.
Wait. He picked that name. Royce is the name of his youngest son, and Keys is the last name of his late mother, her maiden name. So he picked that name, Royce Keys. It wasn't just given to him. A lot of times, us wrestling fans are like, "Oh, that's the stupidest name," and we end up finding out these guys pick their own names. And like you said, that now it's under WWE, it's under the banner, but that name means a lot to who Powerhouse Hobbs is as a person. Personally, great showing though.
Yeah,
and look where he's going to be now. The Royal Rumble built them up to be in the feud with the Vision now.
Yeah. He had a great elimination, and then, like you said, now he's plugged in as a babyface who's got the crowd behind him. Right, ready to go into a main roster feud. Go for it. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So we think he's going to be against the Vision. What if he becomes the muscle of the Vision?
You could see who he was fighting in that match. He had the face-off with Bronson Reed. Yeah. The two powerhouses in the ring at the time going face-to-face. You could see the groundwork already being laid out. You
I
know,
can even see him teaming with, let's say, Austin Theory and Seth Rollins, and then it's Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker, and then it's like a 3-on-3 match.
So we got a comment really quick that I want to put up on screen. I guess we could address it now. No surprise that Jericho wasn't there. Well, listen, I mean, he's still on the AEW roster page. I could be Jericho. I mean, maybe if Jericho comes into WWE within 2 months ago, and then they kind of just, they just tell us like, oh yeah, a month ago it was Jericho, but we know it wasn't because it just doesn't fit Jericho's body style there for sure. This guy was a little bit on the leaner, agile side for sure. I think it could have very well been Logan Paul just playing that part. Not to say that he's necessarily going to be revealed as the one who did it, but I think it was I personally think it was Logan Paul playing that part. I have to look at it one more time, to be honest.
Logan is going to become such a big baby face when that turn finally happens. I think fans are starting to appreciate him over time, but it's not there yet. He's going to be a future world champion. And I think it's going to most likely end up being him as a babyface, where he's going to finally get to that point. Once he's past Paul Heyman and stuff, I don't see him turning yet to be on that side. I think it's going to be Royce Keys, LA Knight, with the Vision going against the Vision. I think that's what it's going to be right now. Not Austin Theory or Seth. Seth is still a ways away. With his surgery, I think it's going to be closer to WrestleMania, and maybe the turn happens at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I could definitely go with that.
I will say this about Logan Paul. So, backstory: I was at a Dave & Buster's for a kid's birthday party, and they were streaming Royal Rumble, and it was awesome. But I was with a bunch of dads who were not wrestling fans, but were watching, obviously, because it's huge screens and it's everywhere. And they see Logan Paul, and they're like, "Oh, we know Logan Paul. Oh, he's in this," and we're talking back and forth, and they're like these casual viewers, and it was an in for them to get into wrestling, and they were rooting for Logan Paul, and it's just like, okay, there's a rhyme and a reason for his success, and it's working.
Yeah.
And so as a lifelonger, it's like, sure, like I'm not gonna ever like him ever, and I'm always gonna boo him, and I think that's the fun about it. That's the fun that I choose about it, but at the same time, I do see his value.
I think as fans, we end up respecting when someone puts their heart into it. And now he's full time. He's not just part time anymore. And the matches that he had, you've seen the work and the ethics that went into every match that he's had so far. And yeah, he went against good people, but he still had to go out there and perform. And he's done some amazing things in the short period of time that he's been out there. And now he's ready to give his heart and soul, basically being there every Monday night on Raw. It's not just once in a while anymore.
Yeah, and he's got classic Royal Rumble spots to this point. He's got highlights. And how many years has he been like the final 4 or 5 in the Royal Rumble? I'm like, this guy is really good at Royal Rumble.
Let me ask you guys a question, because you just brought it up. This year's Royal Rumble has been different than any other year lately. I know, I guess Michael P.S. Hayes basically has been putting together the matches, for the Royal Rumble for the men's. And it always seems like every single time somebody comes into the ring, everyone's got to do their spots and do their spots. And they'll do multiple spots, the same spot on 4 or 5 guys. This year, it didn't seem that way. Didn't seem the formula. It's been what it's been the past couple of years. So I kind of enjoyed it a little bit more, because it was a little bit less unpredictable to me personally. But like you were saying before, was there a big spot in this Royal Rumble this year that stands out over any other spot?
That's a good question.
I mean, I have it in my. I have a couple standout notes that I took.
But is it going to be in the highlight reel every year?
Nothing that I'll probably remember.
To me, the spot didn't happen inside the ring. The spot happened outside the ring, and that was Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
there's going to be that. Cody Rhodes' first Royal Rumble elimination since 2016 or whatever it
Mhm.
was. You know what I mean? So it's like I thought that was a big deal. As soon as he started going over, I'm like, oh wait, he's never been eliminated since he's been back. So
Yeah.
this is a big deal.
Let's take a pause here really quick. Those of you guys that are watching, I'm joined by Joe and Pete. My name is Wayne. Those of you guys that have not subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We are talking Royal Rumble, WWE Royal Rumble. We're on the road to WrestleMania, and I just wanted to run this by you really quick about Gunther's performance.
Mhm.
What you thought? Obviously, he came out early in the night, but what did you feel about Gunther's performance? Did you guys get? Did you feel like you got what we thought we were going to get out of Gunther tonight?
I'm gonna reluctantly say yes and more, just
Mhm.
because of what I think they're trying to build in and through Gunther. And so I'm gonna say yes, he delivered for sure. And I didn't know if me, even just like as a fan, if I was like ready for it. I mean, I'm decked out in AJ stuff, but I'm just
Mhm.
like, and so like I'm still processing that, I guess. But at the same time, if we're talking just the Royal Rumble part of it first,
Just the Royal Rumble part of it, yeah.
okay, yeah, the Royal Rumble part, I predicted that he was going to lose the AJ match, but then win the Rumble. But then he came out, and I'm like, no, he already beat AJ. And then I started rooting against him, and I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to root against him. And
Mhm.
so, which also helped in the end, because then I rooted against Gunther so badly that when Roman Reigns won, I popped.
What were your
I
thoughts about?
I was the other way around, actually. I
Really?
want to see Gunther beat Roman, just because it's something that's fresh, something that's new. Yeah, Roman's going to draw the people even more. So you got to go Roman, business wise at this point, because he's still going to draw people like crazy to WrestleMania. But they built up Gunther to even be more of a monster, to be even more of a bully. Me and Wayne were talking on our prediction show. We've been thinking that it's going to be Gunther versus Brock at WrestleMania, but there was never the face off between those two in the ring.
No, and we could still
Yeah,
get
but
that on Monday.
we got the face off
Yeah.
of Brock and Oba,
Yep.
and it wasn't long. It was teased twice, and they did a couple of things to each other after like the second tease. But it was a quick elimination of Oba, and then Brock was just kind of a weird elimination too. But that was the seeds. I think you were right last night, Wayne, saying that most likely it's going to be Oba versus Brock, and I feel like maybe Brock, I think Gunther's going to be the one that at some point's going to retire, because that's his gimmick right now, would be against Brock down the line, maybe next year at some point or at the end of this season. I don't think we're ready to talk about the AJ Gunther match just
Nope.
yet,
Nope,
but
not yet.
yeah. But it was just kind of surprising to see, but we just built them up of basically manhandling AJ most of that match, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And you could see the wear and tear on him in the Rumble, and they talked about it. His knee was banged up, and it made him a little bit more human to an extent. That there could still be something where he could be taken down, but it just showed how strong he was. He was in the final four there at the end. Your final four was, you had Logan, you had Roman, you had Randy, and that crowd wanted Randy so bad to win.
Yeah, because the Saudi Arabia crowd. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but I think they're more biased towards the older school wrestlers and older generation wrestlers.
They just want to sing the song.
Yeah, and they want to sing the song too, for sure.
I know you guys want to sing the song right now, don't you?
No. But we get so we got a little bit ahead of ourselves there. But we had Lesnar number 22. He throws out Oba. So again, Pete, to your point, and yeah, we made this prediction. It very well sets up the fact that we could get Oba versus Lesnar. It has been reported that Oba will be getting a big time match at WrestleMania. So yeah, I suppose you can consider Oba versus Lesnar a pretty big time match there.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that. I like keeping Oba Femi like a feature marquee event that happens, you know, and like he doesn't need to. I mean, of course, we want to put him on TV because he will do well for business when he's on TV. But I also like that he is the draw. Like it really reminds me old school, like, you know, like marquee wrestling, you know, seeing the poster and seeing like the, you know, like building up for the event.
You know, it's funny. I'm looking at the list right now of guys, you know, where they came in this match. And, you know, Roman winning is the best thing that they can do for business-wise headed into WrestleMania, I think. But you know, it's funny. Jay Uso gets in the ring, and Roman comes in next, and he tells him, roll it back. And then he sucker punches him. And then all of a sudden, like 2 minutes later, Jay's helping Roman. I'm just like, that was a weird spot to me in that.
Hey, well, you know what? It was just business. You know, Jay Uso understands it. It's just business.
I just sucker punch you when I told you to roll it back and then start your music.
I can't believe that nobody
understood it.
Just push him over the turnbuckle when he's running it back.
Yeah.
Like LA Knight literally was
I was waiting for him to get thrown over.
Like, literally just like, come on, he's right there.
They're all watching it, man.
Over the rope. Yeah.
It's all about the spots and getting the crowd to go crazy.
Of course. And of course, Saudi Arabia needs to run it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they've been waiting, you know, all year to do this.
They've been waiting all year to yeet.
Let them yeet.
So
boy,
another guy
missing here though.
Another guy that had a really good showing was Jacob Fatu.
Yes, I was just about to go there. The point that we missed over in all this is because within this match, they basically gave us the possibility of what could be Drew McIntyre's main event. Now, we didn't talk about the championship match yet, but we will get to that. But we see Cody Rhodes hanging on the ropes when Jacob Fatu eliminates Cody, and then you see Roman. No, sorry. Cody's hanging on the ropes, and Drew McIntyre, we see him give like a Claymore right by the apron, and that basically takes out Cody, eliminates Cody. Then after that, Roman takes out Jacob Fatu. You see Drew McIntyre looking at the both of them, basically setting up what we believe could be headed towards a triple threat at some point. Yeah, can they do this at Elimination Chamber?
How
we do this at Elimination Chamber, and then maybe there could be another plan for Drew McIntyre? That's always a possibility, but at this point, we could assume that quite possibly we're looking at Drew versus Cody and Jacob Fatu, and obviously not to mention, we'll talk about the men's championship match. Obviously, Drew McIntyre beat Sami Zayn tonight. But this is where we're headed. This is a very, very key moment in that match as the Royal Rumble was wrapping up.
How do we get to that point? Because the Elimination Chamber is supposedly set up the other title match. How do we get to that point all of a sudden that match becomes a triple threat match, three-way dance for the title? I think it's probably most likely going to be that also at this point. You know, I think Jacob needs that if he's going to be in that match to have Cody part of that. And then, you know, Cody's going to need Drew. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like they all need each other.
Yeah.
But what do you do at the Elimination Chamber to bring that about to have a three-way? Are we going to get a screwy finish? Is there going to be a double pin? Is somebody going to come in and take them out? I don't know how we get to that point right now.
I think it's going to be a 2-night type of feature where it's going to be one winner for the Elimination Chamber, and then obviously it's either going to be Cody or Jacob. Hopefully, let's say it's Jacob. Let's just say it's Jacob. But then night one, it's going to be Cody versus Jacob, and if Cody wins, he enters the main event as a triple threat. And that's a way you could kind of build night one a little bit. They've done that already with the Rock and Roman versus Cody versus, and you know what I mean. And whatever happens here sets up night two. So you could do something like that.
They were also clamoring at that point for Cody to be in that. That whole feud with Cody, The Rock, and Roman, and all that was just you were at such a height and such a point where all three of them were megastars at that point. We're not at a point where I don't think Jacob Fatu is not a megastar yet. To be like that, and people still want to see. I think Cody and Drew going at it. But like we've already planted the seeds from Saturday night's main event with Drew attacking both of them.
Yeah, and that's why I think that's a possible path towards a triple threat. I mean, just logistically, like this is how you could possibly book it. But to your point, it was because the fans were so hungry for that Cody Rhodes match, and especially because like he freaking won the Royal Rumble second year in a row. You know what I mean? It's like, no, finish the story. Like that was the big thing, Yeah. At this point, we're starting a story, or we're seeing the beginning stages of whatever this story might be. Might not need to be a very long story, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think, for sure, it's going to be a mix of those three at some point. I kind of like the idea of Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. He wants to be the main event of WrestleMania. I think he chooses Punk and let that be the main event of night two. And that kind of.
And that's probably what's going to happen, but at the same time, it's almost as if like it's a little bit forced at the same time.
No, it's not though. It's not at all.
Opportunity. That's the thing. It's like these guys are getting older. It's going to be their last chances to do these things.
You look at last year's.
They wanted to get to Roman. They want to do Roman versus Punk, and that I get. But you had organic stories lined up with Drew and Sammy at WrestleMania. You had the possibility of Alba versus Drew. You had another organic story of Braun Breaker against possibly CM Punk, and they totally deviated from the organic story. So now it's like, okay,
but you're not though.
Kind of hitting a little bit of a reset button here.
The story of Roman and Punk has been going on for a long time. They've been going at each other for almost the past 2-3 years.
Yeah, but it has. But Roman hasn't been on TV for 3 months.
But I know he has not been on there. But that he's always been the guy that comes and goes. But when Roman's been around, who's been around? CM Punk.
Yeah.
Look at last year's WrestleMania when Seth turned, basically on them, with Paul Heyman. And all of a sudden, Roman's blaming CM Punk for losing his wise man. That's organic, dude. That's been going around for a long time. This feud's been boiling up to a point. Yeah, I think we were going to get Seth versus Punk most likely this year until Seth got injured. So they went back. We were going to get Punk versus Roman at some point. At some point. Whether it would have been like Royal Rumble this year or something, there would have been something that would have happened between those two. But it's theirs. If you think about it, Wayne, it's there.
I mean, it's there, but again,
Survivor Series
when other people, when other people have been there all along and you have other stories already developing, and then you have Roman just coming in out of 3 months.
You sound salty now that he's not there. And that's part of when Roman came out on Pat McAfee this past week. He's saying, yeah, I haven't been around. Now it's time for the top dog to be back.
Is he not at the Undertaker level where he can come back for Christmas and Easter? You know what I mean?
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, he's Brock Lesnar. For how many years did that, But we've known this about Roman for quite some time now. Ever since COVID, he's not always around. Yeah, he was around a little bit more with the Bloodline story, but even then, he wasn't there every week.
I think he'll be around more for the road to WrestleMania.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
I think that's what's going to happen. And especially and I was trying to say it before too. Like these guys are getting older, and like there's so much more to what they want to do with both CM Punk and Roman Reigns for their respective careers. Both of them are getting into acting, and so like they want to be able to build their future and do those things for the. And so like in my opinion, I think they need to strike while the iron's hot. And so CM Punk's got the belt now. Yeah, let him headline WrestleMania now while he can. And if he can headline WrestleMania going into WrestleMania as champion, even if he loses WrestleMania, even if he loses in the main event again, he's still fulfilling it. And put him in night 2. Let him headline the whole thing. And it's his last couple of chances.
I think this is Punk's finally got a main event WrestleMania. Yeah, he main evented last year, night 1.
Yeah.
But because of Roman, it's going to put him the main event closing out the show with Roman, I think.
Yeah, and that will definitely, and I think that is a headlining match that will draw money, that will draw not quote unquote pay-per-view buys, whatever that equates to now. But I think that's the path to take now, and I think it'll be great. Look at the reception. I mean, granted, it's a little different because it's the crowd is in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. But look at the reception that everyone gave Roman Reigns there. Like that, and you could tell that he took that moment in. It was when like he was like, "Yes, this is the reception that I thought I would have gotten back then." He even knew that it wasn't going to be that way back then. But like it's like thank you. He's thanking the crowd so much for like all of that they're putting in that moment, and so hopefully that also resonates in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Before we move on, let me see. We are gonna have a special guest hop in. Give me one moment here. I'm just gonna get him in.
Is it Kathy Kelly?
No,
man,
not tonight. I told him like, listen, this is your husband Pete's shtick, and
whatever.
Whatever. Do it that way. So we might have him come in. So we gotta move this along. We have AJ Styles versus Gunther. We already kind of alluded to it already, but news was out, revealed by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful about 2-3 weeks ago that AJ Styles' contract was going to be up as of February 1st, midnight tonight, and that was true. It was personally hard for me to book any kind of storyline past tonight, knowing that possibly his contract is not going to get extended. So we were definitely leaning more towards Gunther possibly winning this match going into the Royal Rumble, and that's exactly what we got. And then, so again, AJ Styles' WWE career is officially over. A nice little send-off, and unbeknownst to us, I personally, I don't know what you guys thought, but I personally thought we were going to get a little bit more out of AJ Styles this year, and some people are bummed out about it. But then again, he never said when in 2026 that he was going to retire. He just said that in 2026 he will retire. He never told us any dates or nothing like that. So he's basically lived up to what he said in 2026. He's going to retire, and here we are in 2026. He is officially retired from WWE. What did you guys think, especially with the last couple of weeks, getting these quick matches in with Finn Balor, Nakamura? I mean, that was kind of the red flag to me. Like, okay, AJ squeezing in some good matches here. He must be leaving.
Yeah, but if you follow the pieces, and there was a tell tonight when he came out, he was wearing the same exact colors that he did when he debuted in 2016. Same exact blue. He had the boots that said Phenomenal 1. If you looked at his boots tonight, it said Phenomenal Forever. The 1 was replaced with the word Forever. His gloves were the same exact color. His pants were different, but they still had the same blue and black. It's kind of crazy. I said last night was definitely going to be his last night because it's going to make Gunther look stronger. And the only way to beat Gunther was by DQ or count out. And he fought so hard. And I think the emotional thing in this match, yes, it was AJ retiring. But it was referee Dan at the very end of that match, him screaming for AJ Styles. It was like his best friend almost, because he's refereed so many matches for AJ Styles that it made the connection even stronger watching it on pay-per-view, but watching it on, ESPN, the PLE, as we call them now. But the ref Dan, there was something about it that just made it more emotional. Sorry. To the viewer and those watching at home. And I don't know if that came across there to the crowd. But AJ fighting constantly for his career with the sleeper, and then he wakes up like he didn't know what happened. I kind of like that. He did get his handed to him. It's AJ giving back to the business in WWE.
Yeah, I mean that's the tradition, and I think I love that he upheld it. And I think that was, if this is what we see as the last of AJ Styles in WWE, I think that he did it the right way and to the right person in the right time too, because like it just builds and builds and builds Gunther, and I think that's. I mean, if there's any lasting thing that you can do as a veteran is to help build the future, like that's all that you could ever hope for. And to get the love and to get the dream matches, and it's just, I was not, even after all of that, I still wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. And I think I'm sure we're going to talk about it, but at the end, when you think that he's going to take his boots and gloves off and whatnot, and he puts them back on, I think that's like he's done in WWE.
Yeah, it was a telltale to that point where I'm like, he's not taking his boots off.
Yeah,
and then he puts the gloves back on. Now, listening to the post show, Big E and Peter Rosenberg both say that he's done with wrestling. They never said that he was done with WWE. They said he's done with wrestling. But the seeds have been planted also with him versus Kazarian over in TNA. I think he's going to end his career in TNA. I think he's going to end up beating Mike Santana for the title one last time. And then held it for a decent amount of time before the end of the year. It wouldn't surprise me. Mike Santana put up a post on social media at the end of that match.
We gotta pause here for 1 second. Sorry, Pete. Hold on 1 second. Hold that thought. We are joined by Randy Zelia from Back Sports Page. How you doing?
Not just me, but Henry the Wonder Dog.
Yes!
Henry is very opinionated about the Royal Rumble. Now, gentlemen, before we converse about this, I will give you a heads up. I did not watch the women's Royal Rumble match. I caught everything else after.
Not a problem. We didn't even talk about the women yet. We're headed there. We talked about the men's. We were almost just about to wrap up the AJ Gunther, but come on, have at it.
Okay, so I'll jump in with the AJ Gunther. Him not taking his gloves off, and the way they had him converse in the first episode of TNA on AMC makes me feel like there's something maybe there, because I don't see WWE just letting him sort of walk away from without him being involved with something. You know what I mean?
Could I just jump in real quick? Right before you came on, I was just talking about this, and I think it's a major part of this. Mike Santana put up a post on social media. It's a black and white picture of him sitting in a chair in the back area, empty room, part of the backstage area in TNA, and AJ Styles is on the other side of the room, and he's just looking at him, staring at Mike Santana.
Yeah.
And it's such an amazing picture. Whoever took it did a great job. But Mike Santana posted that right after the end of AJ and Gunther's match.
But I will tell you too, you can't read too much into that, because Mercedes Moné posted something about AJ right after the match, so did Will Ospreay, and so did Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
So,
but they thanked him. This was a planting seeds type of post, more than just a thank you. There was something
I don't think he's
totally
done.
there
I
that
just
you
don't
could
think
tell.
yeah.
Yeah. I also think that he so at TNA Slammiversary, he came out after Leon Slater won the X Division title, and obviously there was like some seeds planted there. I would love for him to do a program there, even just one more time for the X Division title, get the X Division title, and which that's just so happens good timing. Eric Young just won a Feast or Fire briefcase for the X Division title anytime, anywhere, which would be kind of cool for one last little go around with AJ Styles, and then that'll be a really cool way just to clean up. All right, AJ Styles can get the X Division title, and then one really funny way, not fun, but a good way to get these two veterans back together.
And the seeds have been planted for him and Kazarian.
Yeah, and then there
on AMC.
retirement.
Yeah, from what I'm gathering, his contract with WWE is up.
Mhm.
Yeah, tonight.
So there's, like I said, there's a lot of seeds planted doing a lot of different things. I know there was a little bit of a conversation thing with AEW as well, but I can't see him.
Nah.
I can't see it. I can see him going there, and I can't see him going there for multiple reasons. One, there's no reason for him to. He keeps on saying that he wants to be with his family more and do some different things with his family. For him to all of a sudden jump back into a full time with another company, I can see it with TNA just because it's a nice bookend to the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
exactly. He was Mr. TNA from the very start.
He was Mr.
Pretty much.
TNA. I was very listen. There's one thing I can say with Gunther, too, and you know, it's two parts. There's a second part to the story. You know, this helps reignite him, too. You know, like we can have this conversation about AJ, but Gunther's still their future guy, and he's the guy that, you know, I think my biggest issue with what they're doing with Gunther is since WrestleMania 40. WrestleMania 40, you know, when you have an Intercontinental Champion, like you want that secondary title to be the launching point, where when you see him finally lose it, you know he's going on to bigger and better things. There's been so many years that Intercontinental and that U.S. title was not the stepping stone to that next step. The Intercontinental title was that for Shawn Michaels, for Bret Hart, for a lot of the great legends in the business. They when they finally lost that belt, it was for them to move up to bigger and better things. What happened with Gunther?
I am ready to move up to bigger and better things.
We're just gonna say that for that, Wayne, for you, that belt is the apex. Okay, that's where we're reached the highest point for you with that belt.
Women did the
When he
Continental.
won the King of the Ring afterwards, when Gunther won the belt, won the King of the Ring, and won the World Championship, he was poorly booked. Probably should never have lost the title to Jey Uso. It's been poor booking for him, and now this is their chance to find for redemption for his booking at this point.
Where do we go next with Gunther?
I think if Jericho really appears, he's the next one he retires, because it seems like the two titles are going to be wrapped up at WrestleMania already, and he's not in that picture right now.
As it seems,
So-
yeah.
I don't
So-
think he needs to
I
be
don't-
there right now.
Yeah, I don't see him going against Chris right away. Chris needs to establish himself back in WWE, and I could see him if he's healthy. Kevin Owens, if he's healthy at that point, I could see them reigniting that fuel of friends again. Just to get his feet wet again in WWE. It's going to be a while, I think, before we see Chris Jericho, because he's going on tour right now with Fozzy. And then after that, he has the Jericho Cruise. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as soon as people think he is, and he's still on the AEW roster page. Is Tony Khan holding him back for the injuries? He could be.
I also think that Tony Khan and Chris Jericho do have a good working relationship.
Mhm.
It's not like this is where I'm just waiting for my contract to go up and then I'm out of here. I'm sure there's dialogue between the two, and I don't. And as much as Tony loves his wrestlers and he's willing to help out guys, I don't think he's going to sit there and say, "Listen, I'm going to hold you up on our roster page until you debut with WWE. I'll do you that favor." I don't think he's doing that favor. If he was really gone from the company, he would be off the page already. They don't have an alumni section over at AEW. So he would
there's also been guys that have been held back for a time with injury on their contracts. There's been some pretty decent guys under contract that he's done that with, that he's already been known to do that with. If he does it for one, he's got to do it for another at that point.
And not to make this an AEW type of conversation, but Tony is also the type of guy is if he's not planning on using you, he's not, or your contract is up and you're not resigning, he's not putting you on TV.
He's had a lot of guys already that he has not used, and he's held that against them before in the past. I don't want to get into the conversation either because this is about Royal Rumble, but there's a track record already there.
Right. And
it's not to bash Tony or anything like that, but that's been his business practice with guys.
Well, and by the way, he's not wrong for that either, by the way.
No, I'm not saying that's why I say I don't want to make it about an argument about that. Let's talk about the Royal Rumble though.
Yeah. So Pete, really quick. We got to take a pause here just so I can do.
We got somebody else coming.
Nope. We got to move it along here. Those of you guys that are watching, Instagram is going to time out in about 10 minutes. So make sure you guys switch over to the YouTube channel as we'll be going over. So make sure you guys switch over to the YouTube channel. We are joined by Randy from Backsource Page. Randy, I have another question for you because I know we didn't talk about we didn't get to the women yet, and I know you didn't see that like part of the show yet. I don't know if you want to spoil or anything like that, but I do want to ask you really quick about what you thought about the men's Rumble. The key points we covered earlier was Oba and the Braun Breaker. We covered the fact that Braun came in and we had a masked man interfere, and then Oba threw Braun Breaker out. So what do you think about some of those moments that we got, and then overall with Roman winning the Rumble? Are you okay with the men's Rumble tonight?
Yeah, and I think I said to Jacob Walters, who's part of our wrestling crew over at Back Sports Page just a few minutes ago, it's very interesting because I know they'll probably go with Roman and Punk, but there's still a story there with Drew where now Roman can chase Drew. We've never had it that way before, where Drew's able to hold this over Roman because for a long time, Drew was feuding with the Bloodline and never had the upper hand. Now Drew has the upper hand. So there's stories on both sides of this here. Also, last year, CM Punk took Paul Heyman away from him, which eventually led to, the Vision and all this other stuff. But that started with CM Punk cashing in his favor on Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. So there was a lot of different things there with Roman winning. I think it was the right choice because if Roman doesn't win the Royal Rumble, what exactly are you doing with him for WrestleMania? There's not too much there without having him in the main picture. One of the takeaways, I threw it in your chat here before. One of the things I saw was I think you saw the official thumbs down for anything major with Rusev.
Yes. Yeah, we were pretty deep in conversation before. I didn't get a chance to pull it up. But yeah, he hasn't been on TV in weeks. He was on a main event match the other night. But they really haven't done a whole lot with him. It seemed like maybe there was a little promise the first couple of weeks he was in WWE. But again, I don't know what it is. Is it due to TV time? Not enough TV time on Monday nights? I don't know, Randy. Do you have any?
I do. Well, I think this is so. It's Peter. Peter was just talking about it before. We obviously don't want to make this an AEW conversation, but there's a lot of guys who came over from AEW to WWE, and Rusev being one of the guys who came over. I'll be 110% honest with you. I don't think Rusev was a guy they really had a plan for. I think Rusev was a guy who they just wanted to get him away from Tony, which, by the way, Tony wasn't using him either.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't being used there either. It's just he had some injuries, but he was never any good stories. And when he wasn't a good story, They just never pushed him at certain points where it was just like, okay, we're pushing him now. He's going to be this monster now. With the God complex and everything like that. Back then, it was like finally something good for him. But when they brought him in, it had to be the worst thing ever. How they brought him in, the video game Rusev.
Yeah, it's
Like,
well,
what are you doing?
It's Peter. I'll be 100% honest with you. It's one of the reasons why Tony doesn't bring in a lot of guys from WWE now. Is because a lot of these guys who went through their system, he wants to have the New Japan style guys.
Yeah.
So these guys who are brought up in the WWE system don't translate well over because they're used to a certain style. Rusev came from that style, but what I took away from this has been, Rusev he's a if you put him with the right dancing partner,
Oh yeah,
he can be good. Like
he had a great match with Powerhouse Hobbs. I mean, it was a very favorite. What was that? The meat slapping match, right?
Yeah, but he also had good matches with Sheamus already. The thing is, it could be something we don't even know, and it's something backstage. There could be something with Rusev that that we're saying it could be Rusev himself, and that's why he's not being pushed the way we think he's being pushed. And it's not to say bad things about Rusev or anything like that, but there's a reason why it's been that way. The stop-go pushes, because it happened in AEW and now it's happening in WWE. He was so huge, before he went to AEW, and then Vince basically gave up on him too. Who knows if there's attitude issues or anything like that. And it's just like I said earlier, I just made a quick reference. I'm like, with Oba, when he just started eliminating guys 1, 2, 3, and one was like, Rusev, thanks for coming. Matt Cardona, always be ready. I'm like, always be ready to be eliminated. And they both happened so fast in the men's Royal Rumble.
It's funny too, is we say that too. Like Rusev had a good run in 2018 with the Rusev Day thing, and it's one of those things where it's almost like Daniel Bryan, and to a point, Cody. And I have to elaborate on it in a second. But something gets over with guy, and sometimes it's not the wrestler that's getting over; it's the situation or the catchphrase, or like Jey Uso is main event Jey Uso. Yeeting is over like crazy. That entrance is over like crazy. The fans doing the arm dance with him is going crazy. But as far as his matches,
no,
his matches are not great. So Rusev Day got over. The Yes Movement got over. Cody Rhodes' story, finishing the story, got over.
Yes, it did.
But Cody's title reign did not get over.
I know, like, we're getting off track and everything like that, but you're talking about one of the best wrestlers in the world with Bryan Danielson at the time, Daniel Bryan. He could back it up. Rusev had good matches back then when it was Rusev Day. Yeah, he had good matches and stuff. And then the same thing with Jey Uso. Jey Uso gets blown up so easy, and them always have him come into the crowd is so huge, but he gets blown up so fast and so easy. By the time he's in the middle of a match, his cardio is horrible, and he only has a couple of go-to moves. Cody Rhodes can go in the ring no matter what. It's a little different. So like I'm saying, there could be other things that we're not seeing as fans and we're not meant to see. And there's a reason why he's not being pushed. And it could be him saying, I guess with Tony at the time, he didn't want to do certain things, you heard. And he says, no, I'm not happy with that storyline. And Tony's like, okay, all right, sit at home. It could be something with the person themselves.
I will say just real quick with Rusev, I think he will always have some name value in WWE more so than he'll have with Miro in AEW, and I think that because of that value, there's always going to be a place for him on house shows. And I saw that there was like a post about how he will be on the next like main event, and he's like, oh wow, he's really been demoted to main event. But you're like, yes, but he will always have a job, he'll always have value, he'll always know who he is, and there's value to it, and there's I think a future for it.
Yeah, we put such a bad main event is like a bad dirty word in our mouth in the United States. The reason why they do main event is actually outside the United States. You know, it
Oh,
does better outside of the country here. And we don't even see that. We don't even think of that. And that's why they do it, you know, more than anything. But we as fans, we're so like, we wear these blinders being in the United States of America. And meanwhile, we're seeing it with Netflix. We see WWE in Saudi Arabia now. We've seen how tonight looked. Was just ridiculously crazy. The crowd was loud. We see how Europe is. They go to Australia. It's global now. And you know, one of the things is like main event. That gets played all over the world. You know, we don't get that main event here on cable TV or anything like that. I don't know even to where to watch main event on YouTube, I guess.
I think
It was on Hulu for a
It
while.
is on YouTube for sure.
Yeah.
And Pete, and you bring up such a good point too. And there's something that Bruce Pritchard had said on his podcast when it came to you know, when he worked for TNA and even for WWE, because the last 2 weeks WWE has been touring overseas, and the crowds have been crazy. Sometimes you just have to give the U.S. crowd a little bit of a break and fill that need out there, because they're going to pay for it out there.
Yeah.
They're not going to care because it's not there too often. That's why when TNA used to travel to the United Kingdom and they did their shows, they made their most money under the Dixie Carter era out there, because there was a want for it. So,
And,
you know,
you see the people that have been influenced during that time when TNA was over there, and you're seeing those kids now in the United States in WWE or in TNA or even in AEW, the people that came from England that are still really young, that are late teens to early 20s and stuff like that, and they were inspired by that TNA, and they were inspired by that AJ Styles and stuff back then.
Yeah, and by the way, one other note with the men's rumble, which I thought was very interesting, is in the past, and obviously he's older now, Brock Lesnar, he was like a machine back in the day, and I just don't feel a match like this brings out the importance of when he's here, because if you put it like, we talk about what you should be doing with Brock Lesnar, and we talk about what you should be doing with Gunther. We've been talking about that Brock Lesnar Gunther situation now for how long?
Since right around 39, WrestleMania 39.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I honestly feel that we talk about what's next for Gunther. We talk about Brock Lesnar, who's definitely on his last contract with WWE, who's on a very, very short stint, because we still have to figure out how that's going to play in with the Vince situation as that stuff comes across over the next 5-6 months, because that whole thing's going to get settled up and Brock is still sort of involved with it. So this could be Brock's last run. We talk about what Gunther can do with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. He could put an end to that career too. What bigger name that you can put down than Brock Lesnar?
We got teased the Oba Brock tonight.
Yeah, I didn't
more than the Gunther Brock. I don't think Brock's contract is up just yet. It could be another year, depending when he signed. He could have signed for 3 years.
I'm gonna jump in really quick.
Yeah.
Minnesota SummerSlam is in Minneapolis.
We're going back here again.
It got a little. I got a little. My apologies to those watching. I think I kind of made a off color comment right before we went up there last
I'm surprised
night.
I'm allowed back after last night.
But anyway, Minneapolis is out of control right now. It is like a war zone. Let me tell you, SummerSlam might be moving their venue if this doesn't clear up by like March or April. From who knows? Maybe they move it back to MetLife again.
No, they're going to move it to the Somalian daycare center.
Yeah, they're going to send it back over to Saudi Arabia. They're going to do all their pay-per-views from Saudi Arabia from now on.
The point I'm trying to make is SummerSlam as of now is in Minneapolis, Brock's hometown. It has also been rumored that that's where Brock Lesnar may call his own career to as well.
All right, Gunther retired.
I'm thinking we get Gunther Lesnar at
Makes sense.
SummerSlam in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
If it happens in Minneapolis.
They can move it to somewhere else in Minnesota.
I'm sure that's not a bad idea
outdoors
to make Minnesota audience really unhappy.
You got some college stadiums over there, right? Maybe they move it over to Green Bay and piss them off even more over in Minnesota.
I don't know much about their venues. I don't know if they'll pack out a Green Bay Stadium because that's 100,000 seats.
Yeah.
It would probably be something.
You could do staging.
Yeah, it would be like a 50, 60,000
Yeah.
venue. They could run back MetLife again if this doesn't clear up. And I wouldn't be
You
surprised.
just wanted it that line.
I don't like MetLife, but I'm just trying to be real about it. Like they're probably going to try to move it to a closer location.
Yeah. Well, they have a good relationship with MetLife and also in Philly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
If they could simulcast it, that always works.
or they can always go back to Indiana to Indianapolis.
Yeah,
So.
they kind of owe Indianapolis one because they've kind of been
We've gone way off track, man. There's going to be a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, it's partially my fault because I go sidetracking all the time, so I apologize for that. That's why my podcasts, all my podcasts I do, I always tell the people I'm with, I'm like, we're going to see them for 30 to 45 minutes, and like an hour and 20 minutes in, we're like, we didn't even get to the meat and potatoes of the show.
My next question to you guys is we're gonna move along. My next question to you guys is, and we barely even touched on it. We talk about the Rumble a lot. We barely even touched on it. Sammy versus Drew, the match that took place tonight. My question to you guys: where are we going with Sami Zayn here? This has been we had an organic story right there, and I feel like WWE is kind of moving away from it, but we've had an organic story all year long. Sami Zayn planting the seeds. I've never won a world title, haven't beaten Drew McIntyre. It's like they've been planting the seed all year long, like they were planting the seed all year long between 39 and 40 for Cody and what have you. Where are we going with Sami Zayn here? Because I'm a little confused now.
You couldn't have him beat Drew. You cannot have him beat Drew. Drew's your WrestleMania match.
You didn't beat Sami Zayn.
But like I said last night in our prediction show, Sammy's always thrown in when they go to Quebec, when they go to Montreal, when they go to Toronto. He goes to Saudi Arabia. We always see the push for Sammy. Maybe Sammy gets pushed right now with Jey Uso. Jimmy's out right now. It's been rumored that he's at home right now taking care of things. There may be issues with this pregnancy. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but it's been said that he needs to be home right now. We talked about them maybe dropping the titles. Maybe Sammy gets thrown in with Jay right now in the meantime to hold over both of them and put them in the tag team situation right now. But Sammy's always going to be valuable because the crowd loves him. He's always going to get emotion out of people, but it always seems like it's the wrong time for Sammy almost all the time.
I agree with that.
Joe, what did you think about Sammy?
So
that decision, like where we're going, or where do you think we can go from here?
He's reliable.
I never once thought that Sami Zayn was going to beat Drew. I don't see Sami Zayn going into WrestleMania with the WWE Championship, and it's sad to say too because I love Sami Zayn. I'm a big Sami Zayn fan, and like I had to remind a couple people who I was watching with, like, hey, Sami Zayn technically, you want to really talk about it, is a WrestleMania main eventer. If that is a feather in his cap, that's a feather in his cap. And I think that Sami Zayn is, in certain ways, especially certainly not wrestling style, but in many ways he is the modern day Mick Foley in terms of being like a reliable worker, a fan favorite, a passionate person who loves this business and is building this business, and so like and has that same amount of respect. And so with that in mind, do I ever see him as a world title holder? Yeah, I think so. But you can, in the same way that Mick Foley is a world title holder, you can give it to him on a Monday night and take it off of him 3 weeks later. You know what I mean? And if he ever needs to get his flowers, I'm sure there's a way that he will get his flowers. I think, as you're saying, there's a built-in story with Sami Zayn going to Saudi Arabia undefeated pretty much. And that is the story. That's the story that they needed to build for Drew's first title defense now, to make it seem like, wow, there is a really good chance that Drew McIntyre could lose. That one story right there tonight is all the story they needed to do for tonight.
There was only one time that I believe that Sammy could have beat Drew tonight. Sammy got his handed to him. Same way AJ got his handed to him. We almost had the same match back to back. on the domination part. But there was one part where Drew says at the very end, Sammy, do it for your son. And the next thing you know, he beat him like a minute later. But it was almost to the point where this may tick off Sammy enough where he's going to have a comeback and all of a sudden there may be a shock. But to me, there was nothing else that made me believe that Sammy was going to beat Drew going into the match and during the match. And I love Sammy too. I go back being being Sammy, when he wrestled in Ring of Honor, El Generico back in the day, watching him and
Great
Kevin
matches.
Owens. I used to see him all the time wrestling for Ring of Honor, locally and stuff. And, he has such a heart and he's always going to be connected to the crowd. Even when he was a bad guy, people still liked him to an extent. It was weird. But because of that, you had to turn him babyface. I don't see Sammy ever turning bad because of this. Maybe he might get a little disgruntled. Maybe he gets a little down and somebody needs to pick him up. And that man might be Jey Uso. And maybe they'll be tagging with each other in the near future just to keep both of them doing something. Maybe it helps the tag team divisions out on Raw. And they go against like the New Day or whoever again. And, maybe that's what we're going to see. We're always going to get consistent, great matches out of Sammy.
I think with Sammy too is I actually think that this was actually the beginning because redemption stories is something that fans always seem to be drawn to. Where's WrestleMania next year? It's in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This can be the start of Sammy doing it for next year. I just don't think it'll be against Drew. I think this Drew being the champion is a until WrestleMania thing. It's going to be very interesting to see where Drew ends up in this pecking order. And like what you said with Sammy, I'm not to get off the subject of Sammy. Look, Sammy might be on that list if he doesn't win a world championship to be one of the top 10 guys to ever be the best ever without winning a world title.
Yeah, like the Kurt Hennig.
Yeah, like
or Rick Rude in WWE.
Ravishing Rick Rude is the perfect example of a guy who had it.
Jake the Snake Roberts, same thing. Look, Owen Hart. Yeah,
Owen Hart. Oh my gosh, yeah, he should have won in '94.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We back then we were never mad that they never made it to the top because the Intercontinental title meant so much back then. We didn't have all these titles. And there was we grew up watching Hulk Hogan always holding the title, or you're always watching Ric Flair mostly holding the title, where the secondary titles meant a lot more, and those were the most competitive matches. We never really got like angry that a guy like Kurt Hennig or Jake the Snake or Rick Rude never held it. We were like, yeah, it would have been nice if they would have held it, but like. Nowadays, it's just like we get angry and more passionate fans like, oh, it's cheap. What are they doing? How come Sami Zayn hasn't won the title now? Oh, they hate him there. They're booking him all wrong. It's just the way society's. Maybe it's because of social media. I don't know, man.
Well, it's funny. I had Ted DiBiase on the show, I think like last year or 2 years ago.
Another guy. Yeah.
And so I asked Ted, I'm like, did you feel that you missed out? Because remember, at WrestleMania, we're going to WrestleMania 42. There's only 42 main event matches. Well, now with the 2 nights, you make the argument like there's obviously more opportunity.
Like 46, 47 matches. Yeah.
Like, but if you look at it, he was the main event of WrestleMania 4 against Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yep.
I asked him flat out, did you feel because you were in a high position that you missed out on not becoming the world champion? He's like, my career was great. I was reliable when they needed me to step up to work with the world champion. I was always finding ways to make it good. Mm-hmm. He carried Warrior when Warrior was wrestling with him. His programs with Hulk was always strong. His programs with Savage was always strong. When Hogan came back in '93 for that short stint with Beefcake, he was handpicked by Hogan because Hogan knew he could trust him.
Yeah, that's such a good point. That the heel champions need a Sami Zayn to be able to tell those stories, to carry matches. and for the fans to really buy into, to think he could do it, but then that heel champion overcoming it and retaining and carrying on that, when are we gonna see the bad guy lose? That's the important story that they need.
Yeah. So I do think that there's something there with Sammy for maybe next year. And what you just said before too. He had you felt like I honestly felt like if they were going to pull the trigger with Sammy, he was at his hottest after the breakup with the Bloodline, and they could have had him win the championship just to lose it to Cody the following month.
The thing is, it's also a business when it comes down to the end of it. And, who's going to sell more tickets? Is it going to be Drew or is it going to be Sammy? I think the money is more in Drew McIntyre.
Oh, God, yeah.
Point. And the same thing, that's why Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble. I said it earlier. I said the money's in Roman Reigns at this WrestleMania. It's not in, we talked about the final guys. It wasn't going to be Logan, and maybe it could have been Randy, because he's huge. He's more huge outside the United States of America, but there's such a love for Randy lately. That's awesome. But to me, the money for this year is Roman. It's going to sell the tickets that they need to sell at WrestleMania. I think there's still a love for him.
Yeah, it's definitely. Listen, you're not wrong. And as far as Randy Orton's concerned, he's a guy too who doesn't need the championship.
No,
he just doesn't. And I think Cody. I'm not sure if Cody's in that place anymore where he needs the championship or not. But I think because Cody has not lost much since he came back over here from AEW, losing is a bigger deal because he doesn't do it that often.
I think we're waiting for Cody to turn at some point. I don't think it's going to be right now. Maybe at Mania or after Mania. Maybe it might happen this year. But there's been a lot of seeds planted, and part of it was with Jacob in that interview where he was just putting down Jacob Fatu backstage, talking about him being arrested, being a lowlife, and it just made him seem dirty, man. And all of a sudden Jacob gets up and he's like, I fight for my family. I do this for my family. And all of a sudden Jacob became the American dream.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they can go towards Mania and just build that up. All of a sudden Jacob, he's incarcerated, he's come back, and he's going down the right path. But Jacob also has that mean thing behind him that drives him. But we're starting to see this darker side of Cody little by little, little by little, little by little. And you're just waiting for that point for it to snap on Cody. And you're just waiting for the right time. I don't think the right time's yet, but it's coming very soon.
So hypocritical too, because that's one of the things. That was one of his major sticking points for leaving AEW. Is he just didn't want to turn heel.
Yeah,
and
But I think he knows now. He's a little bit old, a little bit wiser. He has the right people in his ear, and he knows where the money's going to be.
Yeah.
He didn't want to turn heel in AEW. The fans wanted him to turn heel. And he's just like, that's not who I am. That's not my character right now. That's not what I'm portraying. And, his best match was against his brother in AEW,
Yeah.
But I don't think he was ready. It's like, I'm not going to turn heel for no reason. And that's what the fans are like. We don't like you. You're too much of a white baby face. You're not our cup of coffee. You're not what represents what we like about AEW. We're the difference. We're wearing the black shirt while everybody else wears the white shirt. And it's just like, that's what kind of made AEW when it first started. It was the other side of what wrestling was, and just to bring a different view of how it could be, the strong style, the more of the independent style, less of the storylines. And but Cody comes from that old school, and that's what he wanted to stick with. You
either die a hero or you live long enough to become the enemy, and that's what happened with Cody in AEW.
Yeah,
guys, I'm gonna hop off. Thanks for letting me hop on for a few minutes. I really appreciate it. Peter and Joe, pleasure meeting you. Henry was happy to meet you.
Henry, take care. Randy, thank you so much for hopping on.
You got it, guys. Be well.
All right, guys, we got to move this show along.
You ready? You ready for that woman?
We got to move this show along here. We are going to talk the women's Royal Rumble. So just in
Wait,
time.
before you do, kind of a perfect segue. I noticed that there was a lack of Kit Wilson. I was hoping that we were going to see some Kit Wilson today, and also it would have been cool if Kit Wilson, just for the gimmick, was head to toe like covered like the women was. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna say there's a lot of toxic masculinity.
Literally head to toe in the leather, and it all just says toxic and whatever. You're toxic, like that. That would have been so cool. Or if he came out during the women's, I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just like you're all toxic. You know, it would have been fun. Anyway, Wilson going into the women's. All right, cool.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I think there was a lack of Finn Balor.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, let's talk.
We're gonna talk the women's Rumble. We do not have that much time left here. But we're gonna talk the women's Royal Rumble. Couple things we were expecting and we did not get with the women's Rumble. Decent match, but there were a couple interesting spots that we had. I'll run through it really quick. You know, we had, which was a big surprise, Charlotte drew number 1, and then my friend called and she's like, watch, Alexa is going to draw number 2. And sure enough, Alexa drew number 2, and then we had, we saw Charlotte throw over Alexa Bliss by accident there. Kiana James had a great showing. And then we saw Natty eliminate Becky Lynch tonight, so we might get something there. Possibly, maybe not, because you got the whole Natty Maxine thing going on. Jordan Grace also had a good showing until she got eliminated by Lash Legend, who also looked very good. Then we saw Kyrie accidentally knock off Asuka, so I thought that was pretty interesting. Will they do something with that? Maybe not. I can see them doing a little bit something more with Charlotte and Alexa Bliss there. We were expecting Paige tonight. We did not get Paige. She could be coming on Raw very soon, but we did get Brie Mode, which I did not expect. However, I did hear that she is on record saying that if she was going to come back, she'd want to tag with Nikki Bella. So I think we can get Brie and Nikki and probably a women's tag title match, if I have to guess, at WrestleMania.
That's what I'm thinking.
And then we see Tiffany Stratton come in at number 30. And she had a good showing until the end too. Sol Ruka, very good tonight. And Lash Legend got that rub by eliminating Charlotte, followed by Io. So Lash Legend really looked good tonight. And as well as Raquel, she with the Tejada bomb on Rhea Ripley. And then we see the ending on the apron with Liv. She eliminates Raquel Intentional, which you know they're definitely going to do a feud there. There's going to be some dissension on Monday night. So those are some of my key points with the Women's Royal Rumble. And obviously, we called it Liv Morgan. We did not get Bianca Belair too as well, which was also a surprise. She was in Saudi Arabia. But Joe, starting with you really quick.
Yeah.
Because we're going to wrap this up shortly. What did you think of the Women's Royal Rumble match? And are you happy with who won? And was it your expectation?
I think it was okay. I liked that the winner was one of only 2 women to have participated in every single Royal Rumble match for the women's side. And so those 2 being Liv Morgan, who won, and Natty. I just think that in terms of the booking for this one, it was interesting that it was very faction war heavy. And you just saw that there was a lot of people.
A lot of tag teams, a
lot of factions, and a lot of them were left over. So here's what I noticed. After number 30 came in, only 16 people were eliminated, 14 active. Thank God that we have the Chiron, the scorekeeper at the bottom now. You can actually see, you can keep track of the numbers. And I'm like, wow, how often is it that almost half of the entire Royal Rumble is in the ring at the same time?
Yep.
And it's just like, oh wait, no, it's mostly teams. And after a while, it was just these teams, which of course you're gonna run into now teams like needing to. It's every woman for herself. So it's like every team is going to eventually need to implode at some point or do something. And so you did see a lot of partners, turning on each other or accidentally doing it. In Judgment Day's case, it was very intentional. And I think that it's been needing for a while, especially with Finn Balor's push as a singles, that Judgment Day is going to have to fizzle out at some point, and I don't know what that looks like, but we'll see what
Dominic's not there. Dominic's injured.
Dominic's not there. JD's not there.
JD's not there.
And,
yeah.
And so it's just like, it's one of those things where what really is the Judgment Day. But having said that, I think it is good for Liv Morgan to have won because, like I said, she is one of the veterans in the ring at that point because she's been there 9 times in a row. And so for her to finally have reached that pinnacle, and I think going into WrestleMania, this is a good place for her to be.
Pete, your thoughts on the Women's Royal Rumble tonight? Did it meet any of your expectations? Are you happy with?
It started off horrible. It started off horrible. It just started off horrible. Having Charlotte and Bliss play games in the beginning, it was stupid. Yeah. It was just plain out stupid. It didn't take
just a friendly wrestling match.
Yeah, it did not take until Becky Lynch got into that match, and she came in 9th. It wasn't until that point that the match really started getting underway for me, and then it got good. But the whole beginning, man, it was just like Bliss and Charlotte playing games. I'm gonna eliminate you. No, let's hug.
Yeah,
I was like, really? Come on.
I would have liked
if that would have happened in the United States, they probably would have been booed.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen like a respectful match there.
Yeah.
We know we know what's on the line and we have to do, and instead of this.
Yeah. And then you get fed, Kiana James, and I know now
she had a good outing though.
Yeah, she did. She's good at taking bumps.
Yeah,
she was good in NXT taking bumps, and then when she came into the main roster, she got injured, and they used her for backstage stuff for a while. But she's actually really good in the ring as far as taking bumps, and could be really good at getting other people over. I was a little upset with Chelsea Green not lasting a little bit longer. She was my dark horse, man. She's so good at what she does, putting other people over, but at the same time, she shines like a bright star, man. Everything she does, man, it's just like I'm waiting her for finally to break through. I thought tonight she might be one of the last 4, but she enjoys everything she does, even when she loses. I was surprised that Natty was in the match, debuted as this new character. To be eliminated, to me, kind of takes away from who Natty is supposed to be, this killer. I don't think they should have debuted her as this new character at the Royal Rumble. I think they should have waited until Monday night when she goes and explains herself or whatever she's doing with Maxine. I thought she should have came out and took Maxine out if they were going to have her there, but not have her in the match.
Yeah,
that I didn't like. Yeah. I did like a lot of things, though. Kalani Jordan looked good. JC Jane had some really good stuff going on.
Really good.
The NXT girls, Sol Ruka looked really good. They made her shine really bright. We know she's going to do really good, but I think Kalani Jordan and JC Jane are those 2 girls that are going to surprise a lot of people when they come up to the main roster and they get that push behind them.
Yep. Absolutely. Liv
I just
Morgan,
thought it was a little silly for Sol Ruka to do the Soul Snatcher to the outside of the ring. I'm like, you're gonna go first, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't know why. For some reason, Sol Ruka doesn't resonate with me. I'm not a big Sol Ruka fan. I appreciate her athleticism. She's got a great look. But I think for me, it's almost like the same reason kind of like why Vader didn't like Ricochet, where it's just like super choreographed, I think. But I think there's of course there's value to it. I don't know. She doesn't connect with me the way she seems to be connecting with everybody. But that's just me. That's literally just me.
She does have good matches though. I think the more if you really pay attention and she's only been training for like 3 years now totally, I think. In combined, maybe 2.5, maybe. So she doesn't have a lot of seasoning underneath her belt.
She has
but
nothing but potential and amazing ability. It's
Yeah.
just for me. I don't know. I don't know.
it's the storylines maybe she's starting to get into. I gotta say, Lash Legend eliminating both Bellas was a great spot.
Yes, that was a good spot. Lash Legend was very good.
She lost
Yeah.
a Lash.
And then,
I feel bad.
and then right after that, who did she eliminate? Charlotte.
Yep.
Yep.
Talk about a huge rub. And then Io.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
Yeah. So I mean, last year, the person that shined the brightest was Roxanne, and this year I think it's Lash Legend.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Now,
And
my
wait,
question is, we got to wrap it up. But Pete,
Yeah.
go on. What were we gonna say?
Rhea Lipri. Rhea Lipri. I'm getting tongue tied here. Rhea looking like Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah. Kind of liked it.
I felt like at times I was watching a Power Ranger movie during this match. Everybody, and then at times like everybody was wearing black. Like I'm like I can. Actually, there's one thing I got to hit up really quick, and then I got one more question, and we're gonna close this out. The way everything was designed, did that stadium look empty to you or what?
So what threw it off is that in between each seat, there's these pole things with lights on them.
Yep.
And so during like it looks cool during the entrances and whatnot, but for like when we're watching the action in the ring, it does look like empty seats.
They weren't though.
But no, it was not.
They weren't, because like when there was a point during the Men's Royal Rumble where the arena lit up, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay, there's the people. I see the people now. But
When they stood up, it looked different. But during the matches, when they sat down, yeah, I thought the LED lights were really cool. It reminded me of when they debuted Raw last year.
yes,
At that new
Staples
stadium.
Center. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it looked really wild. No, it wasn't Staples. There's a brand new arena there.
Yeah.
I guess where the Clippers play. Yeah. And I thought it was pretty wild. You're talking about building 20 days. They built that stadium on site. A lot of things were prefab, probably made already at the point that they just brought it in and put together. I'm interested to see what they build for next year. It's got to be on a grander stage, and maybe they do something a little bit different. The LED lights, you always learn from your mistakes or whatever. I don't think it was a mistake. It looked pretty cool. Which I thought what should have happened was the LED lights changed to different colors throughout certain things, and maybe spelled out things or had images that came across the stadium. Maybe that's something they'll do for next year's WrestleMania. And Wayne's putting together a GoFundMe page to head to Saudi Arabia next year.
One last question. Obviously, Liv Morgan is our Royal Rumble. We're going to close with this. Liv Morgan's our Royal Rumble winner. Good for her. We kind of saw her coming. She's had a great, really, she's had a great last 2 to 3 years. So this has been her reward. Her injury time wasn't too significant. It was about 5-6 months. She came back, and the fans love her still. And I think we're probably getting a face turn with her possibly. We'll see. Maybe not. But who does she choose? I think the writing's on the wall. But I want to ask you guys, who does she choose to go after for the championship? Does she do Jade Cargill, or will there be another champion on that brand, or does she go after Stephanie Vaquer
or JC Jane? I'm kidding. I don't
That'd be a good match, though.
It would be.
It would be.
But not WrestleMania.
No.
WrestleMania SmackDown. That'll be.
Can we all agree that the writing writing on the wall is probably Stephanie Vaquer at the moment, assuming she stays champion.
Yeah, she's going to stay champion. That's going to be the match, and I still think Bianca's going to be the other one against Jade. I was still waiting for. I'm on a roll. I was waiting for that to pop up, man.
Yeah.
And then once we got to 30, I'm just like, we still got Tiffany.
I know.
And I'm just like, oh man, it's so weird. This injury to her finger has kept her out for so long.
But you know what? It may make a little sense now, because assuming if everything's booked the way it traditionally is, the Elimination Chamber should should feature the WWE Women's Champion Jade Cargill. So that match would be like a number one contender match, I would think. So I'm thinking that maybe Bianca Belair gets her path to WrestleMania through there.
And if she's not ready, just saying, maybe Jordan Grace, because that's what they have right now with her and Jade right now.
Jordan, Tiffany, you could put Bianca Belair. They could always move one or two people from Raw over, or they can have maybe Chelsea Green in that match. So they have enough women where they can put in for a number one contender match for Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill needs this is a real big problem. Yeah, this is a real big problem. Jade Cargill needs WrestleMania, she needs a WrestleMania opponent, but she needs opponents. So she barely has defended that title. And Tiffany's going to want a rematch at some point too.
I think she still needs. I mean, right now, I think she still needs an opponent who can definitely carry a good deal of the work in the match and the storytelling in the match. I think that there's still a lot of lost opportunity with Jade as champion currently to be telling really good stories, but what you're building around the women's division that you're seeing right now, especially with Lash Legend, I think that is the shoe-in for who can face Jade Cargill. Although I would love for Bianca Belair to do that this year. I don't understand why she can't pull a Jason Pierre-Paul and just wrap that thing. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't get it. What's causing it? What in this injury? I know she couldn't bend her finger.
I think it was something with the nerves. It was something more, I think, with the nerves.
Yeah, maybe she's not able to hold somebody up, or hold hand, and it's a safety issue more than anything. But yeah, I mean, the whole storyline between her, Naomi, and Jade was building up until that injury happened, and Naomi got pregnant. Which is great for her. I'm happy about that. Which just kind of left Jade holding the ball now, and who's she going to go against? And it left this a huge storyline open. I just want to mention something real fast before we head off. Let me know when we start wrapping up.
We are wrapping up in like a minute.
Okay, so Triple H said something during the post show, and it was about AJ Styles. He said to him, he made it very clear that he's done with wrestling. So maybe AJ is officially done, and the next time we see him, maybe Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
he didn't say
all this stuff that AJ's been doing with TNA could have all been teases too as well.
Yeah.
I mean, deep down, like AJ wants to be with his family. And he's even said that. Same thing with Seth Rollins. He's getting to the point, and Cody's going to soon get to the point where he's going to want to spend more time with his family at home. So some of those, pretty soon we'll see Cody start his descent and Seth as well.
I think Cody might go more down the road where he'll show up every couple of months, or once a month or twice a month. Because his kids are going to start getting a little bit older. And listen, he has the money. He's starting to do Hollywood a little bit now, and that's been his plan. That's his role. Yeah. He went to all those classes and stuff. So, but I just wanted to throw that out there because we were talking about it earlier. I know Triple H said it. I see it right now in front of me that he said he made it very clear that he's done with wrestling, not just that he's done with WWE. So who knows? Could be just him playing the game. No pun intended. I don't know why he said that, but no pun intended. So, yeah.
Alrighty. So that is a wrap for our WWE Royal Rumble post-show. We will be back here on Monday nights, right after Raw. Me and Brandon Ash will be in the house. I would expect us to be signing on around 10 after 11. Joe, Pete, thank you so much for hopping on. We are on the road to WrestleMania. And if you guys know of anybody that's looking for a title shot, I am right here. I'm ready to defend all the time.
I think Maxine Dupree wants a shot.
Is that the 24/7? You better watch out. Our Truth might be coming after you.
Oh, there you go. Gunther versus R-Truth. That's the next retiree.
So for it's time for me. I think we talked about the IC belt being like a stepping stone. It's time for me to start defend this, and once I lose it, to go on to bigger and better things for the WWE Championship. So we'll see.
The postman's coming after you.
Jay.
That's who you defeated for that title, right? Whoever delivered it to you.
Oh man! Thank you
I'm coming
guys.
for you, Amazon.
Thank you guys so much for hopping on, and we will be back on Monday night. We'll see you soon.
Agility from the champion. Oh, J6! That could be it. Delivered this deep